What is up, my Canadian cousins, my very good friends north of the border? So today I am delving into something I've kind of wanted to do for a little while, but I've been afraid to do. My journey has mostly been getting to know my Canadian neighbors better and your history and your culture. I do think that it is true that Canadians know Americans better than vice versa. I think I probably knew more than the average American coming into this, and I very much admired your country from the get-go, but I've learned so much more. I really didn't know how much I didn't know until I started doing this. But I think the flip is true. We all tend to stereotype each other, and America is not a monolithic society. It is a very diverse society with many, many regional differences, cultural differences, political differences. And so with that in mind, I'm going to try to be as objective as possible as an American to take in these comments. And perhaps if I see comments that I believe are stereotypes, offer my perspective on it. From more of the every man on the street kind of perspective, the Brandon Gonez Show. I don't know what that is, but I think they're just picking average Canadians on the street and asking questions. And then I'm going to put a link to a CBC National program on the topic, which I think is going to be from the perspective of this professional news source, and I have a feeling it will be different, so I'm curious to see the two. There will be a link in the description for that companion video to this one, so check it out if you'd like to. All right, without further ado, my friends, let's get into it, and please, please, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you're so inclined, hit that notification bell, my friends. Okay.
They think that their doesn't smell. They think that they walk above God, above everybody else. Which is better, Canada or America? I know, I'm not trying to start a war here, but we all know that Canadians like to say we're more polite than Americans. We're a little bit nicer. But what do Canadians actually think about their neighbors to the south? It's time to find out. It's time for your voice.
That's
for the
true
people,
that Canadians, in my experience, are... It's not that Americans are impolite. We have the same rules of what is considered polite and what is considered rude. There are polite people here and there are rude people here. Probably Canadians on the whole adhere, I think, to the rules of social politeness better.
I think is better, Canada or America? And don't be biased. I understand we're all Canadian.
I think Canada has a lot of things going for them. Free healthcare is big. Like, realistically, healthcare in America is very unaffordable.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will avoid getting, going to the doctor, getting tested for things because you're spending so much money. Like here, you have a lot of preventative measures.
Okay, but aside from the healthcare.
Okay. For right off the bat, an honest answer, and I think that's correct. I mean, healthcare in Canada is not free. It's universal healthcare. You all know that. I've known this for a while because, it's been a political issue here, and I'm in favor of universal healthcare. I will say that I have great insurance. It depends. I'm fortunate enough to have a good professional career. I have great insurance. It covers pretty much everything. My employer, my company contributes, a lot to it, and so it comes partly out of my pocket, partly out of their pocket. I don't have to go to a general practitioner to get, a referral to a specialist. I can just make an appointment. It's all covered. They contribute towards a health savings account, so that pays for any co-pays I have as well. And I'm just very fortunate. But the flip side is a lot of Americans don't have that good health insurance. The very, very poor, the destitute, and the elderly have socialized medicine in the form of the Medicaid and Medicare programs, respectively. But it's the working poor or the lower middle classes, and that group is growing, that struggle to pay for health care because their insurance is not good, or they don't have insurance, or they're self-employed and they have to purchase insurance, which is abundantly expensive. And our drugs are extraordinarily expensive because without universal health care, We don't have the ability for a single payer system to negotiate better prices, and these things are trying to be worked through in the legislature and in the current administration in the White House. But it is a difficult issue. So overall, it would be against my interest, my personal interest, to have universal health care here in the United States. But I think that it's necessary because I think it's a basic human right that everybody be able to have access to health care and not go bankrupt and not die because of it. So I'm with her on that.
Where do you prefer to travel, Canada or America?
Travel?
Yeah.
Travel.
Oh, America.
US has.
Have you
Yeah?
ever
It's a
seen
lot.
a man from Atlanta?
No.
Whoa! Are you trying to say American guys are better looking than Canadian guys?
Most of them.
Wow.
There's some good-looking people here, though.
I know.
Which country's better, America or Canada?
Canada.
Canada. What kind of question is that?
Yeah?
Yeah. Actually, no, both countries. Both countries are good.
Well, Canada, of course. We are. We're always.
I'm half American, so.
Oh.
But I'd still say
I'm all
Canadian.
Okay.
Okay, but why?
For sure.
Why?
Canada for sure.
Unanimous.
Alrighty.
Oh, not the clap of the hand.
For sure.
It's a loaded question.
Why is it loaded?
Because you're going to offend somebody.
Well, if you asked me first, I would have said, well, in what respect? But overall, I would say absolutely Canada.
Absolutely Canada.
Yeah, you couldn't pay me enough to live in the United States.
Why is that? Not even what I mean? Not even $1 million?
Well, it's a bit better now that Joe Biden's president, but when Trump, absolutely not. I didn't even want to set foot in the country. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, she's viewing this very much through the political prism, and I understand that. I understand that entirely. You couldn't look. I'm happy. I live in New York, and if you know about our system of dual sovereignty, a lot of government happens on the local level, the state level, and so I'm very happy I live in New York, especially with certain Supreme Court rulings recently. But you couldn't pay me enough to live in some states in the United States. There are massive cultural differences. As I said, there actually was a really good book a number of years back, the 11 Nations of North America, and it went through a historical breakdown of why regions of the continent, Canada included, are different from one another, and how certain of these nations, cultural nations, developed over time from when we were all colonies of either France or Britain, and that some of the nations cross borders between Canada and the United States in the east and in the central part and in the western part. The biggest difference was the Appalachia area and how that spread west, and the Deep South and how that spread west. And those are the regions that really have the stark differences than I think that exist anywhere in Canada. But those differences are so starkly different than many regions of the U.S., where we and regions in Canada are very close to one another, and all of that. So I if I can find something, I will link in the description on it. I just think it's fascinating. You guys should check that out. Maybe I'll do a video on that someday if you want me to. All right.
I actually like America more.
Why?
Just because of Shake Shack.
Good reason.
How many states are there?
18 to like 60.
18?
Yeah. 18. It's not right. Oh, 30? Like 60.
51.
Okay.
52.
Okay, those last two were close, 51, 52, 18 to 16. Hey, a lot of Americans wouldn't know how many Canadian provinces there are. But it's interesting that they're making these judgments without even knowing some basic information about the United States.
Two, isn't it?
I think it's 52 states in America.
So that's a common misconception. There are some Americans that even think that because there are 48 states within the contiguous United States plus Alaska and Hawaii, some people in their brains get 50 states in the contiguous United States and add 2 for Alaska and Hawaii. Obviously, that's not correct.
No, it's
50,
around
50
50 something.
It's either 51 or 52.
Close.
It's 52.
Yeah.
52?
50.
Can't fault
You want
them
the
for that.
answer?
Yeah.
50.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, where's the Statue of Liberty located?
New York.
Oh, in New York.
New York.
Don't tell
Liberty?
someone from New Jersey that. It's actually closer to the New Jersey shore. It's a little carve out of New York waters, but it's a sensitive topic for New Jersey folks.
New York.
Okay.
New York City.
Okay.
Canada is a great country. We actually have rights,
Yeah.
we have freedoms, we have equality, we have You know, we still have a lot ways to go. We didn't have a country that was based on hypocrisy like the United States. There's nothing that's fundamentally better about being American other than the fact that they had developed a very strong military and they were able to flex that military around the world.
You think Canadians are more friendly than Americans?
So Mr. Shirtless Guy, we have rights, we have equality. I agree with him. There's nothing fundamentally better about being an American. We do some things better. I think overall, and this is just fits my view of the world, the progressiveness of Canada in building a good social safety net is, and I envy, and I think you do it better. I think Canada does a lot of things better. But, you know, to say in such broad terms, the implication that America doesn't have a lot of these things. Of course, we're not perfect, and there are rights that, you know, have been stripped away in recent times, and it's very disturbing to me. I think, I don't know when this was filmed, although Biden was president, because she said, one of the people said that before, but, you know, this was the guy in the beginning that says America's all arrogant and thinks they're blah, 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 doesn't stink, you know. Very intellectual analysis of the question is to paint us all with this broad brushstroke, which is, you know, it's absurd, and you kind of lose me on the argument when you start to do that.
Well, we are generally more polite, more kind.
Yeah.
But that is not everyone. There is a ton of amazing, lovely people from the States.
We do like American football better.
Oh, you prefer the NFL over the CFL?
We do prefer NFL over CFL, yes.
Oh, you could get some people
That's
angry with
dangerous,
that.
I know, exactly. Yeah. That's dangerous here in Canada.
It's lovely here. There's no hustle and bustle like over there.
The only thing I like about the States better is there's the southern parts of the States, they don't have snow, man. There's no snow. I lived in Canada all my life. I hate the snow.
Yeah.
Hate the snow.
The alcohol's cheaper.
Here?
No,
in the States.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was about to say, you moved here for the alcohol?
You know what? 30 years ago, I would say Canada was definitely a better place than the U.S. But today, I think Canada is, things are wearing thin. We've got everything we need to be the best place in the world to live. The best. But we got a lot of work to do to clean things up around here. So
We have better health care than they do. I mean, it's free,
Right.
They're trying to make their changes now in order for people to have that sort of benefits that we do.
See, again, on the healthcare issue, she said we have better healthcare. It's free. Neither of those statements are correct. In terms of quality of healthcare and, you know, the medications that are available and the treatments that are available and the quality of the doctors, the United States has some of the best in the world, and so does Canada. We are very similar in that regard. I do know that, and correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong about this, but I have heard that there is somewhat of a brain drain, that there are a lot of Canadian physicians that end up coming to the United States because they can make more money in their fields in some respects here, which isn't a good thing. But then there are Americans that go to Canada, I think, to try to get medications that are more affordable. So Canadian healthcare is not free. You pay for it, right, in your paychecks, right? And the more money you make, the more you're paying into the system. But you're paying for it universally so that everybody can have it. Am I wrong about that? I don't think I am. But I did look at a statistic one time, and maybe I'll flash it on the screen later, the comparison about what an average Canadian pays towards healthcare annually versus an American, and it isn't that great of a difference. Americans obviously do pay more, and the problem is it's unequal in its application, whereas in Canada it is socially fair, and that's what I love about it.
Even childcare that we have here, it helped me a lot as a single parent raising my kids.
Right.
I see now they're doing it over there in the States.
So I don't know what provisions does the Canadian government make concerning childcare. I don't know anything about that.
At least they're making changes. That's a good thing.
What is the name of the American national anthem?
Star Spangled something. Star Spangled. I don't even know. Something like that.
Spandangle. Something.
Spandangle.
I don't know.
Our fathers?
Yeah, our father.
No.
Not the Our Fathers.
Star Spangled Banner.
Okay.
Jimi Hendrix did the best version of all time.
Better than Jennifer Hudson?
Oh,
better than Beyonce?
Come on,
better than Marvin Gaye?
Well, Marvin Gaye is very close, man.
Okay.
Very close. But Jimmy's still the
friends with that guy. I want to have a beer with that guy. I want to listen to music with that guy. The fact that we both have some gray in our hair, maybe he a little bit more. I agree with him 1,000%. Jimi Hendrix, best version ever. Those others, awesome also. Marvin Gaye, amazing. One person they left out in this discussion was Whitney Houston. I mean, her version of the Star Spangled Banner was incredible.
greatest.
What about Fergie? Who sings "Oh Canada" the best? What is the best version out there? I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of differing opinions, but I'd love to know, and I want to listen to it. Being a NHL hockey fan, I'm very familiar with "Oh Canada" with the national anthem. Heard it many, many times at hockey games.
No.
Oh,
to see
we watch hockey.
by the dawn's early
We
light.
watch hockey. See, it goes both ways.
Oh, proudly we stand.
What month do Americans vote for their president?
I want to say October or November. November.
November or
Yeah, okay.
That's November, right?
Yeah.
It's November.
And
yeah.
who was America's first president?
Jimmy Carter?
No.
Bush?
No.
I don't know.
Oh my God, not Lincoln. Is it Abraham Lincoln?
Lincoln? Abraham?
That was Washington.
For George Washington.
Yeah!
Hey.
Right.
You know,
So what's your honest
First
thoughts
Prime
on-
Minister of Canada, John A. Macdonald. When Canadians vote in their general election, I don't know. So props to these people.
opinions of America when you think of America?
My honest thoughts, I won't want to live there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I prefer here
Yeah.
overall.
You
Just
think they're a mess
little bit
over
of
there?
everything. Of course they're a mess. It's an understatement.
Yeah.
They
Yeah?
are a
Yeah.
mess.
Pretty much.
I mean, I'm not saying Canada doesn't have its own mess, but we deal with it differently, right?
People would
We
say
listen.
that. You think we
to
listen?
the people more,
Yeah.
a little bit more than Americans do. You find more people more open to any ethnic group because Canada is a very multicultural country, more so than they are. We accept more. Canada was more or less built on immigration. you
Yeah.
know, so society.
So I've heard this
I
many
think-
times, and I did see JJ McCullough, I mentioned him before, do a video on this. Canada is the most multicultural country in the world, but I don't know why Canadians have this impression that America is not. We are among the most multicultural countries in the world. The most multicultural city in the world is Toronto. In the top 10, the only other two North American cities in the top 10 are New York and San Francisco. And I live in New York, and I work and have lived in New York City. It is extraordinarily multicultural, and if so, there are parts of America that do not tolerate multiculturalism. And, but I also don't want to paint the South with one broad brushstroke, otherwise I'm going to be guilty of what I'm saying some of these people are doing. There are very lovely people in the South. There are regions in the South that are extraordinarily multicultural and welcoming and are not trying to impose a particular political or social agenda on other people. I mean, I think what this comes from, and it's, our problems are broadcast so loudly out there that you don't look at the positives as much. But, the evangelical takeover of a particular political party and their, by definition, evangelicals try to impose their religious beliefs on people, and it's really become tied inextricably with politics, with policy. And so I can see from north of the border looking south, that's a problem that I don't think you guys have there. That's a region that is very different, whereas there are a lot of cultural similarities between the various regions of the United States and Canada. That's a region where I don't think you have a parallel type of place. So, having said that.
We put a lot more effort into it.
Yeah.
And we try to be a little bit more open.
I feel a lot safer here in Canada.
Oh.
Like as a black woman,
Yeah.
you're walking the streets. We're from Montreal, so there's not a lot of catcalling. I don't feel unsafe in the streets if I'm just walking down the streets. I feel like if I were in the States, I'd probably feel a little bit more self-conscious about what I'm wearing, where I'm going, like not really know my surroundings, who the people are trying to talk to me, or they're trying to chat me up, or they're trying to harass me in some way. But I know it's not all Americans like that, but for me personally, I don't want to take the risk. I just feel safer here.
I don't know. I think they're trying very hard to, and I'm just thinking about it more from a social standpoint. And I'm talking about, whether it's race, whether it's gender issues, whether it's socioeconomic. I think they're trying very hard, but still, in some regards, it feels like it's back. They're still in the '60s, and and Canada's not much better.
So it's an interesting. One of the other people said before, we try hard, they don't really try hard. And she's saying she can see that we're trying very hard, and it is, but we're so divided, it's hard to get things done politically. So
with all the indigenous issues that have been emerging lately, and when you think about what we did to the Japanese and Italians in the Second World War, so we have our own problems.
I think she's very fair.
But
who do you think handles it better, though? Because both countries have kind of been going through a racial reckoning in a way. Like, do you think America handles it better, or do you think Canada handles it better?
I don't think neither handles it well, to be honest.
Problems are as deep. Yeah. I think yours. Well, that's America. Like, it's go big or go home, right? Yeah. So all the great stuff is really great, and all the bad stuff is kind of really bad. So we're in the middle. We kind of float along in the middle.
There isn't as much of a social safety net as there is in Canada, right? I mean, it seems like there's really, really rich people and really, really poor people, and the middle class. And then again, in both countries, the middle class is all but disappearing, but there are more social safety nets in Canada. So anyway.
Would you ever want to see more Americans move here, since we're the better country?
I don't know. It depends on how Americanized Canada becomes.
No, we like being different. To be honest, we like being different. So whatever that.
51st state. We don't want to be the 51st state.
No, we're our own country.
Yeah.
I think those two were extraordinarily fair, thoughtful in their comments, without being stereotyping, and I could not disagree with a single thing they said, including the importance of keeping Canada distinctive from America.
And some very annoying Canadians that are around here too. So.
I think the U.S. is awesome. I think it's great. I think they've certainly handled the COVID situation much better. I think that Canada right now is way behind where the U.S. is, which is disappointing to see.
Why is that? Are you talking about like vaccination, or you think just in terms of the rollout?
U.S. is pretty much wide open now, for the most part, and that's fantastic. They've got the vaccination rolled out. They're allowing people to choose, and that's the right way to go.
Politically, I'm not impressed with America.
Why is that?
Just some of the things that happen there and the way they run their business. Of course, I can also say I'm really not impressed with Canada right now either.
It's okay. Whoops. No, whoops.
Justin, are you hearing this?
Let him know. What do you have to say to him?
Hey, it's always a good thing to speak truth to power.
Pretty boy.
Pretty.
Nice hair.
He is very handsome.
America's just different, man. Culture, everything.
What makes it different in your opinion?
In my opinion?
Yeah.
It's all from politics, attitude, and presence of mind, actually. Here, like, look at the pandemic. We all care about each other and we all worry about each other. There, they don't even want to listen to a mask mandate.
That's just way overgeneralizing. New York did a really good job with mask mandates. A lot of states did, even states you wouldn't have expected to do so. I think that a massive segment of our population cares about one another. The majority, the vast majority, and did the right thing. That's not to say that there was a loud minority that didn't. But to say that we, all of us just don't care about each other, it's unfair.
So
what message would you have for Americans?
Just help your fellow American out a little bit more. Be Canadian.
If both the president and vice president can no longer serve, who becomes president?
The vice president and the president can't? I don't even know.
Yes.
They just do a new vote. Oh no, is it the person who's in charge of the army? I don't know.
I think it's a Secretary of State.
No, it's the Speaker of the House.
Oh, the Speaker of the House, yes.
What did Martin Luther King do? A, fought for women's suffrage. B, fought for civil rights. C, became a U.S. Senator. D,
I wouldn't have
ran for
expected
president of the
anyone to
United
know about
States.
the
Civil
Speaker
rights.
of the House. Anyway, yeah, of course, they know who Martin Luther King is.
Okay, look at you. Name one war that was fought by United States in 1900s.
The Civil War?
No, World War One.
Oh,
World War Two, Korean War, Vietnam War, Gulf War. There's a lot there. You know, they say America is the land of opportunity, though.
For who? Rich white men?
You know, I've never
No,
lived
I
in
mean,
America,
like,
but it seems like, yeah, it's like either
dreams
you're
really do
rich
can't come
or you're
true in
poor.
America, you know?
You don't feel like we have that opportunity here?
I think there is an opportunity to have your dreams come true in Canada, but the scale of which you can make those dreams come to fruition in America, Canada
Larger
can never
scale?
compete.
Yeah.
You know, like, you make it big in America, you're big worldwide.
Yeah, because they have more of an international lens, for sure.
Just an international presence,
Canadians
you know?
go to America to get big.
Canadians go to America to get big,
Even look at like actors, actresses, singers. They all moved to LA.
Exactly.
Accessibility.
And why
J&J
is that?
literally said this the other day.
They said that the other day. Oh, now we know what Canadians think of Americans, and to our American cousins, now you know what we actually think of you. But listen, if you're watching this and you have any other thoughts you want to share, drop them in the comments section right now. And by the way, if you have any, show ideas you want us to look into, email us, news@BrandonGonezShow.com, and don't forget.
Okay guys, by and large, that was not nearly as bad as I expected. I've seen some reactions from people in other countries, other English-speaking countries, whatever, I don't need to name names, that were much more brutal than that. Okay, my friends, check out the CBC video that I'm going to do on this too. So I think this is going to be taken from a more, professional sort of news approach. That was very good. I'm not criticizing, I just think it's going to be a bit of a different approach. So I'll put a link in the description if you're so inclined, and I'll see you over there. Thanks. Bye-bye.